Da-da-da-da! To Love is Kimes, the internet's favorite Love is Blind recap show, according to me and our vibrant comment section. I could not be more excited to be back here with the professor himself, my colleague, my co-host, David Dennis Jr. You betcha.
Absolutely. I'm so thankful for the NFL for making sure their season ended before Love is Blind started up so we can dedicate all the time, all the film, crunching everything we need to do, getting on the Reddits so we can really lock in on what's really important in life.
So we're going to break down episodes 1 through 3 of the very Minnesota season of Love is Blind. But before we do that, David insisted we talk about Tyler and Ashley very quickly.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I've gotten more things in my mentions that I do in life than Tyler and Ashley. When the breakup, so they're broken, they're no longer together. Aww. Rest in peace to their relationship. For spoiler alert. When that happened, it hit my phone like a ton of bricks. Like they're like for those who are not in sports, Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis. There was a huge trade in the NBA. It was a huge moment. I didn't get as many mentions and texts as when Tyler and Ashley announced they were getting a divorce. Like that's how big this thing was.
Yeah. Nobody look. I don't want to. No one wants to say "I told you so" about divorce. David. I had a friend in the Baltimore area who saw Tyler at a bar and immediately alerted. He the whole LIB men's side of that crew from DC was out, and he hit me and was giving me all the deets. He's unfortunately Ramses. He said he's extremely handsome and tall, which kind of explains actually a lot of how that one went down. Yeah. And he was like, Tyler, very much not with Ashley right now. So I got a little bit of a tip off on that. Look, it's interesting though to reflect on this one as we embark on this one, because again, we're only 3 episodes in.
Yeah,
David, last season had a lot of villains.
Yeah.
A lot of very unlikable men. And I'm not saying this season has like wonderful men. It's way too early to tell.
Yeah.
But it definitely, and maybe this is a regional thing which we can talk about as well with Minnesota. It definitely seems like all of the main characters, not all of them, but most of the main characters are coming across as way more low key and way more likable this year.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll say likable as much as like they lack unlikability. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hate anybody. I don't find myself.
You dislike one of them. We'll get to him.
Yeah, I do dislike somebody. I don't find myself like actively for a lot of them being like, oh, I love this person. Like this person's great, but I also find them like relatively harmless,
innocuous.
Yeah, innocuous. Pretty much innocuous. Like it's taken me a few times of watching to realize like who's who. Like they're kind of just like. Very normal, like regular.
Wow, saying all white Midwestern guys look alike.
Look, I'm just saying this show looks like Enter the Charlie Kravitz verse. That's all I'm saying. There are like 4 dudes that look like our producer.
On the count of 3, say the name of the guy who looks like Charlie. 1.
Okay, let me think about it.
Up.
Okay,
I think it's very obvious. He's gonna be so uncomfortable with this. Ready?
What's the guy? What is it? Wait, what's his name? We're gonna take. I
know
what you're gonna say. I just can't remember his name. I don't have his name on here. It's the guy in the triangle, right?
It's one of. There's a couple triangles. It's Alex.
It's Alex. Yes, as Alex. Alex. Yes. It's 100% Alex. And I saw Alex, and I was like, oh, this guy looks like Kravitz immediately. And then
like Kravitz. If Kravitz and Harry Jazzy had a kid, I feel like. Our viewers are like, who the heck is Charlie? There'll be graphics showing you.
They'll be showing his face on 5 different cast members because they.
I think the thing that we're gonna have to figure out, and again, this really speaks to. This is one thing I love about Love Is Blind is the cities and like how you get a feel for like the vibe, the dating scene, the culture, whatever. I remember you had a lot of jokes about there being a DC season for this very reason.
Yeah.
And I think to go back to kind of what we were talking about these, again, both the men and the women coming across as like very innocuous. Are you familiar with the term Minnesota nice?
Yeah. Oh, as you mentioned, on the last one, I was in Minnesota for a summer. I've experienced it. I know what Minnesota looks like. it's one of the more confusing things that could ever happen to a human being is to experience Minnesota life, and there's a whole lot of that going on.
A lot of that going on. So I think so for the probably 99.9% of people who aren't from Minnesota here who are listening and watching, Minnesota nice is like when you are nice,
Yeah,
but like not really nice. Like you
yeah,
don't really. It doesn't. It's not even fake. Isn't the way I would put it. It's a very Scandinavian kind of
mm,
energy, and I think that's what we're gonna figure out with these people is like, are they actually nice? Because
yeah.
right now they all seem pretty freaking nice.
Yeah, but there
But
there are some little undercurrents of stuff. Like
yes,
it's very it's so incredibly regional, and it's interesting because it's like sort of like being like my uncle and them who just watched the Kendrick Lamar halftime show and are
Mm.
like, I don't get what they're saying or like what's going on, but like I get the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very like I think people from that area are going to experience the show in a different way than a lot of other folks, which is something that's kind of different from Love Is Blind. Like Love Is Blind
Yeah.
has sort of this regionalism a little bit like DC. Everybody had this like these jobs and all this stuff, and but like this is a very regional, more so than any time before season, I think.
Yeah, they all like most of them. It's funny, like if this wasn't in Minnesota and you were on the other side of the wall, I think you would clock most of these people as being
Yeah,
from the Midwest.
yeah,
They all have like there's so many Minnesota jobs, like
mm,
nurses, ad executives, right? Like it's just it's very very regional, and I'm enjoying that. I think
yeah,
it's interesting because there's kind of an anthropological aspect to this.
mm,
You and I live on separate coasts. It's interesting to kind of just see how these people move, I guess. And I will like I'll do the power rankings at the end,
mm,
so a little bit of housekeeping. There's only one couple that's together, but
yeah,
there's a few that are kind of solidified, so we can do the will they or won't they say I
mm,
do with them. Also, bit of housekeeping, by the way, I forgot to mention this at the very top. If you are watching this on YouTube, that's great. We're also going to put this out in an audio format. Just subscribe
yeah,
to it anyways to get our numbers up so we can
yeah,
beat the official podcast of his Kimes. Please just hit subscribe and give us a 5-star review. So we're gonna do all that, but first, as always, I'm gonna break it down by couples. I feel like that's the easiest way to get
yeah,
into these discussions. Right at this moment, there's a lot of triangles. Which, by the way, one more thing. Sorry, another thing I think that could be better about this season is it seems like some of them might go to. I think they said it was Honduras, their
mm,
tropical getaway, and see
yeah,
people they rejected. And I thought that was a real problem with last season, David. That
mm,
didn't happen once. There were
yeah.
no exes running into each other and having like regrets.
Yeah, I think not only that, I think that we're careening towards a situation, one or two, where people are going to maybe be picking couples or picking somebody just to go
Ooh.
and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's a possibility that we may have like a season one situation where it's like, yeah, I kind of like this, I'm gonna find somebody because I'm not taking no for an answer.
I want to get in there. Okay, well, I can't wait to hear who you think that is. Let's start with like a true triangle,
Mm,
one where I think all three of the people are likable. You can tell me if you disagree. This was kind of the first couple that the show drove into in episode 1, and that would be Devin, Brittany, and Virginia. So through
okay.
episode 3, this is still very much Devin
Mm,
choosing between two women. Devin, 28, program director for youth sports, coaches girls basketball. He meets Brittany, 34,
uh-huh,
age difference, who played and coached Division 1
mhm,
college basketball. And like the second they start talking, it just seems like they're obviously should be together. He even
yeah,
mentions to her that like, yeah, all the dudes are coming up to me and like Brittany's clearly the one for you.
yeah,
But there is another woman who's actually another older woman who went to Devon's high school but
mhm,
graduated 5 years before, named Virginia. She has a doctorate in healthcare administration. She
mm,
was one of two NBA dancers.
mhm,
She is the more like traditionally feminine, like
yeah.
hot. Brittany's beautiful, but she is the more like like
She's dating show like
yes.
material. She is perfect match. Like line it up. She's going on perfect match if this doesn't work out.
So you kind of raise your eyebrow a little bit at Devin,
Mhm.
or maybe his job. I don't know. Like what? Let's just give me first impressions here.
So this is another kind of thing that's different from the DC thing. Like you had like these like physicists and science people, and there's a lot of people on this show who just kind of like dropped out of school or dropped out
Yeah.
of high school and like don't
More
have
blue
like have
collar.
these jobs, like blue collar, but also kind of people still kind of figuring it out and don't, maybe not be as financially secure as a lot of the DC folks coming out of this. So I'm very interested to see what that
Absolutely.
outside life looks like and their homes look like.
Yes.
And Devin's job sounded like it's not a real thing. I'm just saying, like it just sounded like he coaches. Like you could coach. You could be like how you're an assistant coach for like high school,
That's right.
and but then like you run some sort. Like it sounds like he just like it does like like trains people in basketball like for as a freelancer at the LA Fitness, and then like does it. So I was there was a little concern because Virginia's got like job like Virginia and Brittany got like jobs, and he sounded like maybe not, and he has 100 pairs of Jordans, which is always kind of that's a weird thing.
Yeah, I hear you. He's also younger, which I think
Yeah,
also
yes,
adds
there's
to
that.
that sort of like, are these people at the same phases in their life? Could there be potential disappointment when
Mhm.
they meet up and learn more about each other?
And they both seem supportive. I remember Brittany being like, "Hey, I remember I could see
Yes.
myself holding the baby while you're head coach at the high school or
Yeah.
whatever."
No, no.
Like
Nobody in this trio is misleading anyone.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I will say that about Devin. Like, I don't think he's
yeah.
misrepresented himself in any ways. It'll be funny if Brittany meets him though and sees what I see, which is bootleg Ben Simmons a little bit. And I like, look, him and Brittany have more on paper in
Yeah,
common with each other. I didn't have like a strong feeling like he's got to choose her
yeah.
necessarily. I do like her maybe the most of anyone. We'll get to the power rankings. Like
Mm.
she's legitimately funny. And like when she talks to him, she's just so clearly comfortable with herself and there's no front. Like Virginia, I like her, I really
Yeah.
do. But there, the little bit of like people are surprised that like a hot girl's a doctor.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
husband, she has a doctorate, she's not a doctor.
We come out the gate hating on people's jobs. That's what we.
No, she's clearly very accomplished. Like, whereas Brittany, like, she's like talking about her dad, like
Yeah.
Lily Pete with the stinky feet. Her story about wanting the Lil Wayne album and getting Millennium was I truly when he laughed out loud watching that.
Yeah.
And when he goes, no,
Right.
I don't know. Did you feel like eh, do you feel like him going with either one of these women would actually be a mistake?
No, I think they're both great. But here's like where I have concerns where like when this thing goes like if he picks Brittany, right? Like Virginia, like and they do the X's come, I want him to like be still locked into Brittany if that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because like you have a woman, she's lighter skin, she's like a little smaller. She's like
Or
they're
heels in high
wore
school?
heels in high school. Like there's like that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I want him to like if you're gonna pick Brittany, like lock in with her because she's like really dope. And I think like part of that like there's one's a dancer, one's a basketball player. So I don't think like he has this idea of like looks going to and I think again both of them are beautiful, but there's
Well, I did wanna ask you, in the teaser for the season, there was audio of a girl saying she thinks the guy knew what she looked like
oh
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
time. So
uh-huh.
I could go back and listen to the audio and figure it out who it is immediately, but I don't wanna spoil it.
Yeah,
They went to the same high school.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, look, she was also we're gonna get to this with the other NBA dancer. Her saying that also is shorthand for I'm hot, and it's
yeah,
true. It's
yeah.
not like I'm not holding it against her, it literally was her job, so,
Right,
like, for her part-time job or something.
right. And I think, but I also think basketball player dancer like they like when not you could
Mhm.
think like they might cancel each other out in hotness in some people's
It's
minds.
very progressive of you, David. I don't think that's how most men think, to be honest. Okay, well, we don't know how that one's gonna go. Actually, you know what? Instead of will they say I do or not, let's try to pick who we think they end
Okay,
up
let's do
with
that. Yeah,
for the
yeah,
triangles. Okay.
yeah.
A couple that, I characterized to you as 2 golden retrievers meeting at a dog park, Joey and Monica.
Yeah,
Joey, first of all, the most Midwest, most Minnesota accents. Like it literally do you watch Fargo? It felt like watching
yeah,
Fargo at every
yeah.
time they
I
showed
have
Minnesota.
a Joey caveman Monica. Like that's what I have for them.
Dude,
Right.
I wrote Joey every time I started calling him, Love Is Blind Dan Campbell. I clocked him as a football player immediately,
Yeah,
by the way, he
yeah,
didn't reveal that until later, but he's lovely.
yeah.
Like, he is truly I mean golden retriever, I mean both of them. You and I look, we've done this show now for a couple seasons. And sometimes the meant to be couple can be very boring. I
Mhm.
think of Amy and
Yeah.
that guy. But
Yeah, the guy the people didn't know how birth control works.
I find these 2 to be actually kind of fun to watch because
Okay.
they're, like, unique and so specific, I
Mhm.
guess, to the I don't how did you feel? Because neither of them ever had another interest.
Yeah,
They were immediately like peanut butter and
they
jelly.
got to it fast. Like mid-second episode, it was like, "We're doing this." Like, literally, like, I kinda, like, jumped. I was like, "Whoa." Like, did I miss something? Did I miss some dates or something like that? We saw 2 dates and a proposal. Like, they were at it and pretty immediately, and my first thought was like, "Wow, this is, like, way too quick." And then when they meet each other and just start giggling uncontrollably for an hour.
What did you make of that? Okay, I know we'll get to some of the stuff that they talked about, but I did want to talk to you about the meeting because we've seen a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
There's the ones where it's like they immediately make out.
Mm.
This wasn't a very sexual meeting at
Yeah.
all. But I don't think that's because they weren't attracted to each other. I think it's just their personalities.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you because we had the disagreement last season with I was like, she wasn't. I thought
Taylor and yeah,
Taylor. Yeah, I was like, oh,
yeah.
she wasn't. Wasn't
It was
interested.
kind of right, by the way. They later said that they weren't attracted to each other at first.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I was like, that didn't feel right. But this one just feels like two weirdos, like two like weird nerds who meet each other for the first time, and they do kiss. And he says like one of the best kisses, the best kisses he's ever had in his entire life. And I just felt like they were that made me feel like they were more compatible than I felt leading into it because we didn't really see that much of them. And I figured that maybe because they're just like a little bit boring and a little bit weird or whatever. But they met, they giggled, it was adorable, and this feels like a rocket ship
yeah,
like to the moon,
yeah,
no problems. Like they're gonna manufacture some problem where he's like, she doesn't like my hair, and they like like go over that for a little bit or something, and
yeah.
they'll be fine. Like this feels like a no brainer.
Insane amount in common. I mean, they both swing dance, just really
Yeah.
stuff on paper that I don't like in humans, but that work for them. They both love the sound of music. They
Mhm.
both are really into penguins. He does. I mean, I actually, when he kind of started revealing his story, I
Mhm.
found it pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
homeschooled, they went to high school, and he said he like didn't fit in, but then football helped him, and he had offers to play D1 football, but he stayed home to be with his sister, went to grad school, started like financially taking care of his family.
Yeah.
He seems like just a really good dude,
Yeah.
honestly. Maybe I'll be let down in the coming episodes, entirely possible. I think the risk you talked about is I'm the only thing I could potentially see is if he is like, the weird Steven where he, like, is annoying in person, like,
Yeah.
maybe he's a
Yeah.
little bit too chatty or a little bit too jokey, but we haven't seen that yet.
I think there's some other things that are weird with Steven that
Yeah, so I forgot to say also I remember he mentioned he had a sister who passed away when
yeah,
but
yeah.
when he revealed that, it was really, like, beautiful. He was talking about her the present tense, which I thought was interesting, but he was
Yeah.
very like, "It's great, I, like, can't wait to talk about it," but it wasn't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this horrible like, he was very not there's anything wrong with that, but I
Mm.
don't know. I just everything about them was like, we didn't have to talk about it that much because like I'm interested in hearing about she's Chilean.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was very interested in that as well. Not much to discuss there. Okay, another triangle. This one I am very interested in hearing your thoughts about. This is the guy that you texted me when I said, "Who do you not like?"
Yeah.
You can you name immediately?
It was Dave. Dave immediately who so let's just start with why I did not like him. The opening cut when you see him, it felt
What's wrong
like,
with you?
yeah,
Line
what's wrong with you? And like, oh, you're here, what's wrong? Oh, you're 30. You're clearly unattractive, like not attractive anymore. Like it was like, we get these montages early of these guys who are kind of like that. We got like the eye drop guy from a couple years ago. We got the guy who was, you know, catfishing AD a little bit, sort of maybe.
Oh, Matthew.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Matthew. And so there was like this rough early cut of him that just seemed really repulsive. And I didn't think that anybody was going to talk to him. And then we get sort of a redemption, but then like I still can't get that other stuff out of my head.
So he is very Dave 32 medical device. Well, he works in and he talks about this a lot. in like the world of like Botox and
Mhm.
fillers, and he was saying that that's affected like what he thinks
Medical
about
aesthetics.
aesthetics. And but then and this is also revealed in his conversations, particularly with the woman Lauren. He talks about it with both of them. He knows he is that dude, and
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be that dude. And he
right.
talks about how his mom died of breast cancer, and how he's kind of he wants to be the person that she thought he could be, a
Mm,
guy who's like has values and isn't obsessed with looks. And so like there I don't like him, but I also feel there is some self-awareness
yeah.
and potential for
Yeah,
a
an
journey.
arc. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
an arc. Yeah, because he did say like I've been really terrible to women in the past,
that's
and
well.
I like want to be better towards women, and he's struggling with that because I don't think he knows how to do it really. Like I don't think
I
he
know.
he he has that. I think he tries to disarm with like these jokes, and I'm surprised because Lauren was the one who was like, I this may be the first date I walk out on, and I thought that was it, and it's kind of become a thing.
So Lauren is one of the two women of
Mm,
this triangle. She's a little bit younger. She's 30. She almost walked out when he said, "Oh, you're no longer attractive." I was like,
yeah. Ugh.
Also, I have an OnlyFans. Cool joke, dude. She is she's a former teacher. Now
Uh,
she works in education, and like, they do have some kind of chemistry.
mhm,
Some of the things that they talk about, and she's an interesting one too, because she seems like this very like Midwestern kind of night. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop saying that about these people.
mm.
But then like stuff comes out about her, like she has like a the patriarchy tattoo.
Right.
He reacted great to
He was
like,
like, "Oh, you're a party girl."
yeah, well, okay, I
It's
guess
like,
not great. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what
if
that
you're
I don't
taking
that's
away from
not what
that
that means,
yeah.
Dave.
But and she is definitely the more she looks, by the way, like, did you watch the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, or do you know
Yeah, yeah.
from The Office, Ellie Kemper? That's what
Uh-huh.
she looks like to me. Erin from The Office. So she's like the unconventional choice for
Mhm,
him. It's clearly they're positioning it this way, where like
yeah,
here's this guy who says he wants to like not be oriented about looks. And I was thinking about it from his perspective, not what we see. From his
right.
perspective, there's this girl who was a teacher, and she has a feminist tattoo, and she's like in a book club or something, or he's in a book club. She
She wants to
reads
make a
though.
bookstore. I think she's the one that wanted to build a
Yes,
bookstore.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
She's the like path not taken. And
Right,
then you have Molly, who from his perspective, he hears NBA dancer, they talk about sex. In
yeah,
their conversation, she doesn't talk very much, to be honest.
right.
He is clearly in like he clearly thinks she's like the hottie,
Well, he
whatever.
says it. So the journey that arc, I felt like kind of ends because he was like, "Yeah, they're both great," and nothing against teachers, but like they're teachers. And the other one's a dancer. It's like, okay, all right, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she got for nationals. Like what
yeah,
nationals? What? Yeah, sure. I don't know.
yeah. They have a religious conversation. They have a conversation on religion and politics and like,
It's
and
dumb.
he had a like, I will support. I hope my kid, feels comfortable. Like he was saying all the right things, which is, um, not the most interesting conversation about like
Oh,
being
that's
queer,
that
a
was
queer ally, which we'll get to.
oh yes, yes. No, he wants lower taxes, but also he thinks opposing abortion is hypocritical. He's a
Yeah,
very like his honestly his politics are like very like American male podcast listener
yeah,
pod. Like
yeah.
they're just like,
He's the swing voter. He's the guy like at the end of CNN who's like, I don't know. I got to do more research.
what did you think of Molly, the
I,
redhead?
yeah, I thought Molly was fine. Like I don't really know that much about her.
She doesn't talk
Like
that
yeah,
much.
we doesn't know she hasn't dated anybody. Or
Never had a boyfriend,
never
right?
had a boyfriend. And yeah, I don't know that much about her though. Like I know more about Lauren, and like she has more of a you know personality. She seems more willing to challenge Dave a little bit. But Molly's just kind of like she danced for the NBA. I don't get a vibe of like who she really is.
She doesn't challenge him at all. I think
Yeah,
that's the thing I would call out is Lauren like pushes back
yeah,
and says she does not going to take and stuff. I'm not saying Molly's like a, someone who rolls over, but like she just agrees with him a lot. I've noticed
yeah,
that like it's not again, it goes back to the safe
yeah.
option. There is a thing that they show a few scenes of where she is talking about him,
Mhm.
and she does it in front of Lauren, but it also seems like based on the editing she doesn't actually know that because Lauren's been very secretive
Yeah,
about it. Lauren's
yeah.
been talks about that a lot. So I don't actually hold that against Molly. Like
Yeah,
it's not
because she
like
was like kind of under the she was in the fort. She was in the fort
Can I say
talking.
something? The fort was stupid. It was a stupid thing to do. You're adults. Let's go to the fort.
I know, and then she was like, yeah, these shows always like a reflection to remind me of how stupid everybody is when you first start dating somebody because everything sounds like a good idea. You know, like she was like, I love building forts. He was like, I love building forts too. You do not love building forts. There's no two. I've never met anybody in my life who's like, you want to build a fort? And I'm like, yeah, let's build a fort together. Never done that. Now I've agreed to a lot of different things when you're trying to like, you know, get some or whatever. But like, you know, like that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like. Nobody's excited about building forts.
In the fort, she does say to the other girls, again, in front of Lauren, that her guy told her she's his one, which
Yeah.
is not true based on
No.
the editing. So that was the thing but again, I don't think it was like a power move
Yeah.
because it's that, you know, sometimes when they talk about the partner and there's a triangle, it's deliberate. It didn't feel, I'm not mad at her, is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and I kind of got the feeling that she might think that that's you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like she kind of feels like that's the number one. Like whether he said it or not, that's how she feels.
Other things about Dave, cheated on his last girlfriend.
Hmm.
Girls come up to him. I will say this about Dave and Molly. They both seem to have high opinion of their own appearance
Yeah,
based on the way they talk, and I'm just gonna leave that there. And they do have a lot in common. Like the
yeah,
way she seems to say yes a lot, but I guess that just it goes back to his decision. I don't know what
yeah,
he's gonna we can talk about it. When we do our predictions. I don't
yeah.
really know.
I actually watched when I watched Dave. I was like him and Lauren, kick rocks and open toe shoes. I was like they should be together because they could just like be negative and nasty to each other and love it the entire time. I felt like that would be a perfect combination.
Okay, let's get to there's one that I barely want to talk about. That would be Daniel and Taylor. There's not a lot there. We'll get to that. Let's get to the
Okay.
love square. This is, I think, going to be the big,
Yeah, this is the drama.
potentially 4 people in this square will go to Mexico or
Mm,
again, wherever they go. And I think that is going to create a lot of, this is what you're talking about, right? Okay,
yeah, yeah,
so we've got Madison in the middle, sort of.
mm,
Her 2 men are Alex, aka Fake Charlie,
yeah.
and Mason, who I wrote Pete Davidson eyes, but and then there's a 4th woman who's Meg, who
Yeah.
is the blonde, like the conspiracy theory woman. I can't handle that. I
Meg, oh my god.
can't
Okay.
handle
I,
that.
I,
I
I,
so
I
much.
can't I can't take Meg. I can't take Meg. I couldn't take her. I couldn't take her.
She does not seem like a bad person at all, but
Uh,
is just the kind of person I cannot be around.
Bad Hank, awful Hank. When she's I don't want to skip it, but when she said skirt, I was like, get her off my screen right now. Stop playing in my face. Like she was doing like when you the brand and and I said skirt and I said Meg, please stop. Please stop that.
I really, who she kind of looks like and kind of reminds me of Chelsea and Kwame a little
Yes,
bit.
yes, yes, yes. I was going to first shout out to Kwame. I saw him at Super Bowl weekend.
That's
I ran into I ran into
right. I saw you.
I ran into Kwame Super Bowl weekend, leaving Shack Palooza or whatever the Shack thing is. Catching Ubers together. Say what's up, Kwame? Catch me out on Love Is Kind, Kwame. We're doing some
His wife,
stuff.
she works for Love's Wines, right? Chelsea,
Yeah, yeah.
like
She's
a
like a
casting.
casting person. Yeah. Shout out to Kwame.
All right, so let's look at this from Madison's perspective because
Mm,
she's ultimately, well, we'll get to the end. The way this ends, I think, is really interesting
yeah.
because she does have a choice, but she kind of doesn't. She's kind of forcing the issue with both
Mm,
guys. So let's talk about Madison. Madison, I think, is the most conventionally attractive person maybe
mm,
on the show outside of Virginia. Probably
yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
She is 27. She is an artist. She has an insane life story,
Yeah.
very dramatic. Her stepdad overdosed. Her mom had problems. Brother passed away. Named after Brett Favre. She was gonna do the corporate thing, but then it was kind of hard for me to put it all together. But she
Yeah.
spent a summer in Paris. She taught English in Jordan. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of lot. So she is in the beginning when we see her with Alex is this guy who was like nerdy in high school, had a glow up, just seems like a normal, nice guy.
Yeah.
Mason is the cinematographer. He's
Mm.
a little bit artsier, whatever. From at the beginning, it seemed like she was definitely going to go for Mason.
Yeah.
Did you feel
Yeah.
that way too?
I did, because I just didn't think Alex, like, and no reflection on you, Charlie. He just doesn't have any sort of like
Swag.
he's more friend zone. Yeah, he's just like
Yeah.
friend person. Like he doesn't feel like romantic, or they didn't feel like anything physical there. It's like a lot of friend vibes from him.
The other interesting thing about him is like she's his only
Yeah.
person, but he's a little hesitant with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, he's like talking himself out of it, and like she tells him the story, like every time, like whenever she's vulnerable to him, like she talked about her attachment stuff, she talked about something, and he was just like, ugh, oh no, like, she was like bearing her heart. He was like, "Ugh, that's a lot. I don't know how I feel about all that."
I actually found it hard to follow. The second time she was kind of talking about it, she kind of like disassociates.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
sounded to me like she was talking about having depression. That
yeah.
was my read on it. But
Mm.
again, to your point, this dude Alex was a little bit like, I got to figure this out.
Yeah, he was
Like,
like, that's
I'm
a
not
red
sure if
flag.
I'm
Yeah,
ready to commit to all of this. And
yeah,
I don't like hold it against him. Like, this is marriage, it's a big
yeah,
step. But I guess what I found surprising is she doesn't really have similar issues with this dude Mason. And she also, I noticed this, tries to sell herself as sexy to Mason more.
yeah. There's
You notice that as well?
a lot of like freaky frog talk in the
Yeah.
first three episodes. There's a lot more of like, yeah, and even like with her and Alex, like I like your pickle, and like I'm gonna taste your pickle.
Oh, yeah,
Like there
yeah,
was like that
yeah.
thing. It is easily like her the flirting that's going on these first three episodes is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. Like she's like, I twerked for you, which she did not, by the way.
She actually, she looked like she was putting.
She was like, yeah, I thought
I didn't, because I was like, "What's going on? What are you doing?"
she lose your balance or something. Like, what are you going? And she's like, I twerked for you, and I was wearing a mini skirt. Like, she was like
Oh my
cranking it up.
god. She's a
Yeah,
very, like, sultry voice. I guess I don't dislike her. I
right.
find her a little bit inscrutable. I did peep the IG. I don't know if you've looked at any of
Oh, I
their.
never been to that G yet. Yeah,
She has the most, and I kind of regret doing this because I think it might have influenced my perceptions a little bit.
uh,
She has the most influency
got you. Okay,
IG, like,
yeah,
putting it out there.
yeah.
So I was
Well, I mean, I kind of when she was like business and doing it, I kind of felt like there was a branding element to like what
yeah.
she's got going on, and I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Mason, by the way, I just he was grew up. His story is really interesting too. Kind of speaks
Yeah,
to what you're saying. He was like bad in high school, worked at barely passed, worked at
yeah.
a factory, somehow got into USC's film school after that. I feel like there's a step there we missed or a connection or something. But then became a cinematographer,
Mm,
and he's kind of like soft spoken.
yeah.
I guess I okay. So I do like all three of them.
Mm,
I want to say, like, I found them all to be interesting. I had no idea who her preference was. And then
yeah.
this last day happens, and
Mm,
this is I want to get your thoughts on this so
okay.
bad.
Okay.
Because okay, so first we get a scene of her. This is like episode 3, I believe,
Mm,
where she's basically telling Alex
mm,
she has realized she doesn't care that Mason has another love interest.
mm,
She wouldn't mind just focusing on him.
yeah.
Then she brings up the depression, and he's a little apprehensive and tells her it's a huge decision.
Mm,
Okay. Then we get a scene with her and Mason, same outfit,
yeah.
notably same day, where she does not break up with it. I thought I was like, okay, she's gonna break
Yeah, I
up
thought that was it.
with
Yeah.
the other guy.
Yeah.
And he's telling her they talk about how he says he's always been broken up with. She says
Mm,
she usually breaks up. She asks about their connection. She's like, there's no one who makes me feel the way you do. And I'm watching this like,
yeah.
what?
Well, because he's very like, hey, if you love the other person, I'm not going to stop you. That's cool. Whatever, do your thing. And I thought it was it. And it just turn was so sudden. I had to like go because when she's leaving, she's like, yeah, I don't know what to do. I was like, I thought you did. Like it threw me totally off.
She's like, I'm getting more affirmation from my other connection. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, I really don't want to throw this away. But he makes it very clear he's still deciding.
Right.
So I want to So I was like, "Wait, so the way this was shown to us, you told one guy it's just us.
Yeah.
Then we get a scene where you're talking to this other guy, and it doesn't seem that way at all, and it
Right.
seems like you're trying to get an ultimatum from him or at least, like, some kind of confirmation." Do you think it's possible those scenes were shown out of order?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good because the thing that she's been saying that she wanted was that sort of affirmation and that sort of like I need somebody to step up. She says that with Alex earlier. She's like, "Hey, I need Alex. Need you to, you know, show something and do all this stuff." Yeah, I think it's because it may just be possible to like drum up some drama between these people because it felt like to me like halfway through episode 3 that this was a done deal. Like her and Alex, it's done. That's locked, and then the other two, Meg, the other two were going to pair off. And so I was surprised that she ended up conflicted. And I don't know if they're drumming up some drama about it.
It might be also that, like, this is a woman who's, like, clearly been through a lot, maybe
Mm,
has some she's I'm not maybe, she talks about having these issues. Neither of these men have true even it's funny, even though Alex, she's his only
right?
option, he still hasn't really committed to her.
Yeah,
So I wonder, regardless of the order, is she was trying to kind of force the issue on
yeah.
both dates?
She's waiting for the gesture. Like she's waiting for
Yeah.
the big thing, and nobody's giving it to her.
I don't blame her for that on
Yeah,
its
yeah,
face.
yeah,
I do if she said to one guy, "I'm focusing on you," and then actually did go and say to another guy, "I wanna know," that's kinda messed up because that's
yeah,
just but I guess I'm throwing out the possibility that might not be how it happened.
yeah.
I kind of think she is gonna get some blowback on the internet.
Hmm.
I don't know, just a
I think
little bit, I don't know.
I think she's gonna get more blowback for twerking for her twerk.
Those the other thing though that was weird was, like, so Meg Mason and Meg is the other
mm,
side of the square. We talked about Meg is the oncology nurse, she's 30, she's a lot, and when they
skirt.
started showing them, she's like, "Let's talk about aliens."
Yeah.
I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, I'm just
Ugh.
watching this thinking like this is just not my cup of tea. So I'm watching this thinking this dude Mason, who we've seen now a
Mm,
little bit on the other date, I was like, he can't be into this.
yeah.
And she's like, and she ends it, and he's like, "We're the same person. You designed me." I'm like, what is happening?
They both are unique individuals who like Inception. Never heard that one before.
Nobody likes Inception.
Nobody-
What?
That's
We're the
crazy.
same Christopher Nolan. You think
This is-
Christopher Nolan's a good director?
wow, you're so avant-garde. Like first, like great. Which also, what kind of film school you like? Christopher Nolan. You don't have any more interest in Christopher Nolan? You like in film school anyway? Like she was like, he was like, I've seen artificial intelligence, or not, or what was it?
Her, her.
Her. I've seen her. I've seen her too. Great. Movie was nominated for like 10 Academy Awards. Great, like amazing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like yeah, I guess whatever. They're the same person, but they also like
Yeah.
get like I don't know what it is about this dude about Mason, but he's getting like a like very physical, like flirtatious stuff going on. They talk about when they're gonna have sex and all this stuff. Like he's getting like all of this energy from these women that
Most
maybe they're
women
just showing
talk about
more.
their sexy Halloween costumes
Yes.
on multiple occasions. These 2 probably have more in common,
Yeah.
even if what they have in common is, "We're so quirky,"
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, energy, which again, I do not
And they
it's
keep
not
saying like, "Oh, he's so mysterious. He's an artist. It's hard to read him." Like whatever.
right. I know she was like, I just really like, I'm really into, like, underground, like, not mainstream people. He's like, "You're speaking my language, Meg." I was just
Also, shout out to the artist from Ultimatum who had a full-on 40-year-old man
Nick,
meltdown. You've got to see Nick. If you haven't seen Ultimatum,
not
just a
yeah.
wild, wild
Oh,
season
yeah,
of
yeah,
television.
yeah. Right. She asks him though, she does ask him, I thought this was interesting and could be a thing. If he wants to have sex on the getaway, he says
Yeah.
yes, and she says she hasn't had sex since 2022, which I thought was interesting.
Mm.
She asks him about his fantasy and tells him she has the Blink-182 nurse costume. So she okay, look, so she's really she is
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
it for her.
Yeah.
Where things left off, it's still a square. It could go either way. It seems like Alex and Madison and Mason and Meg are gonna like. It seems like the actual like Mason and Madison are the 2 people with decisions, and it seems like they're both gonna end up with the people who don't have other partners.
Yeah.
but it also seems like that is going to create some drama if all
I
four people.
I could see I could see there being drama. I could see one picking, like I could see Mason picking Meg and Madison being like, well, I want to go and see, you know what I'm saying? And like let me
Ooh,
pick Alex and just get, what I'm saying, get out of, like I see that
yeah.
there's like, because we've seen this thing where the decision comes because you lose out on somebody who you maybe not be interested in, and now you're interested because you lose out on them. And now it's like, well, I love this guy now. Now this guy's loved my life, and then like it's all kind of to get everybody together so that you can actually pick the person that you like.
I hope so. I kind of don't think any of these four should actually be married, but
Yeah, yeah.
this is definitely the central drama of the
Mhm,
season.
mhm.
Okay, let's wrap it up. There's two couples who are just couples. I alluded to this one being the one we don't have to talk about. Like Daniel and Taylor. Taylor Daniel is the guy who at the very beginning talks about being 5'8",
He
which is
talks
not
about the
even that short, by the
yeah.
way.
It's not it.
So he's
He
probably 5'7".
yeah. He's there because he's short. He's there. Nobody wants me because I'm short, and it's
You
hilarious.
know who he looks like? That dude from SNL, Alex something. Alex Moffat. Google it while we're
Okay.
is who he looks like. Daniel, I clocked wearing Comme des Garçons sneakers at one
Yeah.
point.
And everybody's like, "Oh, he's wearing a heart." Like it's just it's another hilarious thing of like Midwest versus DC, because like everybody in DC would know what those shoes are, but the Midwest are like, "You're wearing a heart on your sneakers, dude. That's zany. Did you
He's
get it from
very
Ross?"
nice. He's very nice. I don't really like I don't even know I remember what he does. The only things that really jumped out to me about him is he is again like when she talks and expresses insecurities
Mm,
or things that happen. Her dad was recently diagnosed with rare cancer. He handled it all really
yeah,
well. He
yeah.
was very kind. He does elaborate Christmas cards of just himself, which is interesting.
And then she's like, "I love Christmas cards too. Look at us."
Yeah. She's the one who, oh my god, her voice. She lost her
Yeah,
voice
she
for
lost her
2
voice.
episodes
Yeah.
is tough. The fact that it's Love is Blind and he picks somebody with that voice,
Right.
Love is double blind there. There's really no drama here.
Yeah.
The other thing of her that I really need to note is that she has a Taco Bell tattoo inside her lip that now says Taco
That's
B.
Taco Bell.
He didn't lose a beat. He was like,
Didn't.
oh, great.
He's like, I want Taco Bell tattooed on my lip. She was like, why don't you pick a place that you like? He was like, I want Chick-fil-A instead.
That to me is like I mean, like, sometimes we give people a hard time when they have trouble knowing what to say. I would be silent if
Yeah.
somebody told me they had a Taco Bell. With them, the only thing I'll say, David, is I'm a little bit worried about the meetup.
Mhm. I mean, I'm worried about his own insecurity about his height. Like, cause he's just gonna be like, oh, how, she's
Right.
is she gonna like me because I'm short? Like he's carrying this height thing, which again, like you said, the guy is like, you know, he's not even that short. Maybe he is, but he didn't seem like.
It's not like a person where you'd be like, wow, that's a really, really short
Yeah,
guy.
it's not like
Yeah,
Kevin
right.
Hart running around out here.
Okay, let's wrap with a couple that is very locked into each other, but
Mm.
there's a little bit more intrigue.
Yeah.
Ben, who is 27 and an account executive, and kind of looks like Matt Rife, the comedian. I just
Mhm.
remember these people based on he is one of like the five guys who kind of look alike on this show, but
Yes.
he's very conventionally handsome, I would say.
Mm.
And then Sara, she also looks really Midwestern, 30, oncology nurse. So the bulk of what we're shown with them, or at least we see a lot of this, is the tension between him being Christian,
Yeah.
like goes to church every week Christian,
Yeah.
to be clear.
I just want to say I have a confession. I thought he was Mason for like an episode and a half.
David! And then some of the women too also really. I struggled
Yeah.
with Taylor and Lauren. I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
it helps me when I find the celebrity lookalike and then I
Uh,
never forget it. So Sara is definitely liberal, that
mhm,
comes across, and she also talks about how her sister is a lesbian. She struggles with the hypocrisy of the church
mhm.
around that. Her words, she grew up Christian, her parents, I don't know, I think she said her parents were close, I can't remember. And she just is like, would you go to Pride? And he is very quickly like, yeah, this is what I want to hear your thoughts on. He is like, yeah. And then he says, some of my closest friends are that way. And then the next time they meet, he's like, look, I just want to reinforce, like, this is I call it faith, not religion. I'm cool with this. You look skeptical. I have
because
thoughts.
he kept saying, I have no problem like if you're that way. And,
Okay.
like those people are fine. My friends are like that. Like he kept doing it. And I was like, dude, you can say the words. Like that is a red that to me is a
Community.
super red flag because the guy would not say it. He would not say queer, wouldn't say gay, wouldn't say
Yeah.
LGBT, wouldn't say nothing. He just said like those people. And I'm like, and if you her, like, and she said that she came across a bunch of dudes on the pods who were like not cool with it, and she's talked about throughout her entire life of like that there's been the issue. Like you should be able to clock the fact that this dude, this hyper religious dude, keeps saying like that way instead of saying like anything of substance about it.
Yeah, I mean, I also was really like my antenna was up every time he talked about it. And I guess my takeaway was that I didn't view it as a fundamental, I wouldn't say discomfort. I would say I don't think he's like I think he is honest. I think
Uh,
he really would be cool with your sister. I think he would try. I think he would do all these things. I also think it is very outside his comfort zone. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that was my takeaway is like, oh, this is all like this is just not something that he's used to. He lacks this vocabulary. This is not his world. This is a dude who grew up, with this idyllic childhood, going to Twins games, playing baseball, and now he goes to church every week.
Mm.
And I think that's going to be the interesting tension here because it's very two worlds. And very rarely, by the way, in the show do we see a religious person and a non-religious
Yeah,
person. And
yeah.
that usually the religious people find each other like magnets. This is going to be an interesting tension, I
Yeah,
think.
because he said, "Hey, I would like for you to go to church with me every week," and she was
Yeah.
like, "I'm cool. We got to find one that like my sister can go to." Like because it's one thing to be like, "Yeah, I'm cool with like those people," but then like to actually be there, it's like, okay, how comfortable are you really? Like that. There's a real tension there.
I think it's going to be interesting to actually, I assume they pick each other. There's no other
Yeah.
drama at this point. That's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. All right. On that note, let's get into will they say I do? Okay, so since we only have one really locked in couple, and then we have a few who are just have one person, we can do yes or no. Will they say I do? For the
Okay.
others, let's just predict who we think they're gonna pick,
Okay.
and let's just go in the order that we discussed them. Our guy Devin is choosing between Brittany and Virginia. David, who do you think he's gonna pick?
I'm okay. So I think Brittany. I think it's Brittany. They just have a better vibe. They both got the basketball thing. I think they're gonna get along well. I think it's good. I think he's picking Brittany, and he says her name correct. He says like Brittany, like because it's how she pronounced it. So that's a really cool, kind thing that he does. Shout out to B Dot.
B dot. I think it's gonna be Brittany too. I think it's funny because a subtext for this show generally is will the guy respond to the hotness cues
Yeah.
basically like and I think to go back to our like will he pick the NBA dancer or not. I think this guy is not like that. I
Yeah.
actually get the impression that he is looking for something very specific and real. So I think he's going to pick Brittany. I am a little bit worried about what happens when he sees Virginia, if that's the case. So, okay, Joey and Monica, come on, easy.
Easy breezy.
That
There's no drama there. There's nothing. They'll probably, like I said, they're going to manufacture some drama about like him clipping his toenails or something like that, and they'll be fine.
locked in. That's a yes from both of us. Okay, another triangle. Dave, is he going to pick Lauren or Molly? So I'm going to go in the other direction here and say Molly because I
Mm.
think he is going to respond to those cues, and he thinks that she is the hotter one.
I think so too, and I think like another thing I want to say about Dave is he tells Lauren, he's like, "I got a sex playlist," and she's like, "Can you just like make me like my own?" Like, she's like, "I don't want the old one. Can we make like my own sex playlist?" And then they start talking about Cat Stevens, which I don't know if he makes is that sexy music or not. I don't know, but that's
It works.
okay.
It's very, very white. Okay, Alex, Madison, Mason, Meg. So let's just assume that Alex and Madison go and Mason and Meg because whatever.
Mm,
If Alex and Mads
mm-hmm.
end up together, will they say I do?
No,
That would be a no for me too.
absolutely not. I'm worried. Yeah, because he's just so like. I mean, like you said, he's very on. Like he is very, very reasonable to be like, I have these red flags. I'm concerned. the fact that he keeps saying them to her immediately upon her expressing herself is like a problem.
I also think she is gonna lose interest in
Yeah,
him pretty
yeah.
quickly.
Especially when she sees him. I just think that's not her.
Yeah, I don't think it's her
It.
type. Yeah. Again, I'm very influenced by the IG.
Sorry, Charlie.
You can check it out. It's not about that. It's just go check it out. All right. If Mason and Meg end up together, do they say I do?
I think yeah.
We're both yes.
Yes,
We're
yes.
locked in.
I think yeah. You know what they remind me of? They remind me. Remember the first season? Like the sort of like trashy couple that was like talked about that where we thought they were trashy couple that they're still together. I can't remember
Amber
their
and
name.
Barnett.
Yeah, Burnett. Yeah, Burnett. Like they kind of remind me of Amber and Burnett.
You
Like they're
don't
just.
have to walk back how we felt about I think it actually is proven to be pretty true. Yeah, I do too. I think that they have a lot in common. I think I don't, there'll certainly be ups and downs, but I just feel like he also just, he remember how he was like, I've only been broken up with.
Yeah,
I think he is a guy who commits and sticks with it.
yeah.
So,
Maybe they can go to an art house and watch indie film Oppenheimer together and see.
okay. Daniel and Taylor,
Okay, Daniel and Taylor.
that is a no for both of us.
Yeah, yeah,
I just worry about the physical, the meetup.
yeah.
By the way, I worry about it because of what you said, which is the insecurity, not
Mhm.
because there's actually this huge discrepancy in looks.
I can see her being like, "That's cool," like it's fine. We're the same height, no problem.
Ben and Sara, that would be Christian Ben and Sara the gamer. And that's a no.
No,
Wow, we
no.
are
We're lockstep.
matching.
I know. We're lockstep
U-
right now.
Usually we have a little bit more that, but listen, like I said, this season feels like everybody seems really nice
Hmm.
and everybody seems very on the level at first.
Yeah,
Previews did suggest that
there's
we
some
would get,
drama. There's
there's
some drama coming.
somebody, I remember there was some woman saying he's a liar
Yeah.
or something. So we'll see. All right, time for the power ranking.
There we go. It's a robust power ranking this time.
This was hard because there's no like obvious
Yeah,
villains we
yeah.
talked about. There's a couple like that belong on the bottom, and there's a lot. So we'll move. I'm gonna do my first batch at the top. Okay, 1 through 3. We got Brittany, Joey, and Monica.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I could. Yeah.
Brittany, I found to be the person I would want to be friends with the most. Zero red flags. Joey and Monica seem like, as you said, the rocket ship, and
I think they're gonna apply. They're gonna like be 1 and 2 pretty much for the rest of the season. I would imagine, or somewhere they're like a 1 seed going into the end of this thing.
so now I'm like rethinking some of my rankings the
Mhm.
way that you've actually made me like I had Devin really high, but you're
Yeah.
talking about his sneakers. I'm like, do I really want to pick a man with 100 pairs of
Look,
sneakers?
Devin. Look, Devin. After the DC fiasco, Devin, you're my only hope, brother. I need you to like. You're the only one on this season. Like, oh, you're my only hope, brother.
All right, I'm gonna put Devin and Lauren at 4 and 5.
Okay. All right.
I think Lauren seems cool. I like that she stands up for herself.
Mm, yeah.
I
That's.
do like Devin. I'm sorry. I'll say Devin has shown me nothing to.
Yeah, I like him. I just think he may not be as financially secure as one might think, but he seems like a really cool dude, and they seem to be supportive of it. So, like, I'll take it.
I'm gonna go Virginia and Sara next.
Okay.
Both
Hmm.
lovely, unobjectionable women.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with
I
either of
think you're
them.
bumping Virginia down because of the like I'm a girly girl thing. I think that's kind of. I think I liked her. I thought she was real cool,
Actually, I'm
but
gonna put Taylor in this unobjectionable woman category as well. She is cool. I just have um look, we all have our particular triggers.
uh
One of my triggers is everybody's shocked to learn that I'm
mhm.
like a guy's girl or
Yeah,
like not that she wasn't doing that, but there was a
right.
little bit of like maybe I'm being too hard on her now in retrospect. There were just a couple moments where I felt like, okay, we get it. You're a cat.
Yeah.
She is lovely. Okay. I feel bad. So we might actually disagree on this. Alex Mason Ben
Okay.
next. And this
Okay.
we don't have to quibble. I've been changing all of them on the fly now. I've just been like, ooh, actually. Oh,
Did
did
we
I
do Madison? Is Madison? We haven't got to Madison yet.
We haven't.
Uh-oh.
There's something
Uh-oh.
off, man. There's something off.
Yeah, yeah. I think she has the potential to really make somebody's life hell. I think. The stuff about like I just cut folks off, like it's just yeah, she might be some trouble.
I'll put Madison next.
Uh-huh.
So the remaining people are because I did it just a bunch of guys, Alex, Mason, Ben. So
Mhm.
Daniel, I guess I should put Daniel higher too, because he is really nice. Yeah, maybe I'm too low on Daniel.
Okay. Mhm.
You know what I loved about Alex, by the way? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. When he was talking about being bullied and the way he talked about like I love the way he talked about it. It
Yeah.
wasn't like resentful, and the way
Mhm.
he talked about how when he's in a room, he looks for someone who's not included.
Yeah.
It was very genuine to me.
Yeah, he
I
had this
understand. Yeah,
real optimism to him. Like he just had this
yeah.
real hopefulness and optimism to him. That was really cool.
All right, so sorry. The remaining people are Daniel, who I'll throw here, Madison, Molly, and Dave. I'm gonna
Okay.
go Madison, Molly. Is this too hard on Molly? And then Dave.
Okay.
Too hard on
And
Molly?
Meg, what have we done? Meg has Meg made it?
Oh no, yeah, sorry. I'm gonna put Meg at 15, and then Dave. Okay, so many
All
people at this
right.
point. So this honestly, like this
Mm,
whole
that yeah, it's
section, you could
yeah,
just kind of
it's
there's a
middle of the road.
vast there's like a
Yeah,
middle class here that
yeah,
we don't really have to really we've got the tops, Brittany, Joey, Monica, Devin for me,
mhm,
and then the bottom, and I actually maybe Lauren I'll put in I think she was
yeah,
kind of interesting.
yeah.
And then at the bottoms, Madison, Molly, Megan, Dave are my
So
least favorite.
Molly is like we're not. So tell me about the Molly thing. Talk to me about the Molly. What's rubbing you wrong about Molly?
I maybe am being I she just kind of seemed like a yes woman to
Yeah,
me. And then she was kind of bragging to the other women. I don't think it was malicious though, so maybe I'm being too hard on her. She just didn't seem like the kind of person I would want to be around, like be friends with, to be
yeah.
honest, compared to some of the others.
I thought she was mostly like harmless, but like not my, like not my cup of tea. And I think she's good. I actually think that she is going to end up being really liked by virtue of having to deal with Dave. Like I think that there's a potential where
I,
her putting up with him could like make her more of a hero this season.
harmless, but not my cup of tea. In addition to being a very like Minnesota way to
Yeah.
talk, is how I would characterize everybody but Dave. To be everybody at the bottom
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here.
Mhm.
There's I would say like there's an upper class of people I would actually want to be friends with. There's a whole middle like, we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like this is gonna change a lot. That's
yeah.
why I feel my power rankings are really all over the place here.
Who's the best hang? Who would be the like we knew
Brittany,
last season immediately who was the
100%
worst hang?
Brittany.
Brittany's the best hang.
She's
I agree. I
super
agree.
funny.
I want to hear more stories about her hearing like having to listen to Willennium.
She seems legitimately extremely cool. I also really like her style. I like the way
Yeah.
she dresses. Monica seems like a good hang too, though.
Yeah,
Like she's
yeah,
like her
yeah.
family. Her family is a dance move.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely there's some pretty cool people. I'm optimistic. Let's
Yeah.
just kind of end there. Like there's been seasons. I feel like the last 3 seasons, there's been a lot of like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this feels like maybe a pretty likable cast.
I feel like this has the potential for having the most successful marriages of any season.
Yes,
Or
I
like the
think
most weddings and most like marriages that make it. That like what
that's
and by make it it's like, however like a decent amount of time.
we had a couple of yeses here, and
Yeah.
we often start off with all no.
Yeah, right.
All right, that is it for this episode. Episode recap, a recap of 4 through 6 is going to come out next Wednesday.
Mm.
If you would prefer to listen to this in audio format, we're going to make it available as an audio podcast. Please hit us in the comments. We read all of them. It's the only safe comment section on the internet. Also,
I
I reply. I get in there.
No, yeah, yeah. Mina's in there. The mentions. I got like so this is the story. What I got on Blue Sky for the first, like when I like rejoined Blue Sky, 100% of my mentions were like, "Oh, Mina's here. Make sure David comes so y'all can talk about Love is Blind on Blue Sky." It was like literally my whole entire mentions was that. So shout out to all of you guys. Y'all are cool.
The best fans. All right, that's it for now. I tried to learn more Minnesota phrases. I had you betcha at the top, oofda, a bit of snow. That's all I got. I'll be back with some new ones next week. Otherwise, in the meantime, that's it for now.